Welcome to Subramani. Yesterday or a couple of days back, I tweeted about managing money for yourself and managing money for others is different. And the personal experience that you go through is very different from the experience that you read. So you read that 1929 this happened in US, etc. Actually, in 1929 much didn't happen in India, but many people would have read that and said, oh, in the long run it is only a blip. So let me show you a small blip in my life. I started investing sometime in 1979-80 when I was in class 12. Obviously it was my father's money, but I can tell you something. I have seen the following. I just tweeted about this, so I'm just reading from the tweet. Those for whom you don't know, I'm Subramani, even on Twitter. There I'm a complete political animal, not so much of a finance person, but you should see some of my financial tweets. So this tweet is one which I said where the way one manages money in real life is very different from what the charts tell you. I have seen the index in 1979 at 100. Actually, it happened in 1984 that the index Sensex was formed. So I must have seen it from 1984. But now these are the numbers that you should see, that I've seen the index at 4467 in 1992. Remember, 4467. I've also seen it at 2226 in 93, right? That's a I think 49-50% kind of a fall which had happened. During that time my income also fell 90% because I was a broker, right? So there was no brokerage income that year. We were doing something else, so I could live. It's not that I was a chartered accountant practicing and all that was different. But I've seen 2222 in 93, 2226 in 93, 3792 in 94. That's a great time, and you say, oh my god, let me get out of it, but still it's way below the 4467 of 2002. Then I've seen it at 3191 in 95, 3110 in 96. It's just gone nowhere. And then 2812 in 98, and then 3316 in 2001. Can you just imagine what a long journey it was from 4467 to 3316 in 9 years. That is what happened in real life. After that, to hold on from 2002 to 2007 or 2003 to 2007, people tell you, if you just kept holding, your 3000 would have become 21,000. True, if you had invested in the index, but if you had invested in the FMCG and pharma space, it would have gone nowhere. So whenever I tell people I invested in equity, people say share your journey. Sharing my journey is of no great use to you, because you cannot really copy. You cannot go back to 1979 and invest. So largely other people's journey are for you to look and see whether you can learn parts of it. So whenever I tell people that equity investing is good, some over literate person will come and say, see what happened in Japan. Exactly, see what happened in Japan. Japan has now saved face because the Japanese market has revived. And 2-3 years ago, after having invested a little bit of money in Japan, I stopped investing when Nirmala Sitharaman made a change in the taxation. That portfolio has done well. It is an insignificant portion of my portfolio, but that is the key. Right from 1989 to 2024, if you had invested $1 in an SIP in Japan, you would have still made money in about 10 or 15 years. Otherwise, it was a 34-year wait. 34 is huge, right? But to make money in equity, you need a lot of combination of things. So whenever in my class I say equity, you should sell only from a position of comfort, some guy will say, if my mother is in hospital, should I not sell equity? It's a good question, but an equally stupid question, simply because you should have had adequate cover for her. You should have had adequate insurance cover for her, or if you were sure that some of it won't be covered by insurance, you should have that money kept in a separate fund. You have to keep a bank account, because if somebody is unwell, etc., you need an emergency fund, right? So answers are very different for people. And then there are some people who come onto my Twitter handle or onto my YouTube and say, I'm sure you won't be very happy, but I don't invest in equities. Be my guest. It is up to you to choose whether to invest in equities, whether you can keep investing, whether you can invest for 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years with that kind of perspective of creating a legacy, or you're investing to say, okay, after 3 years I want to buy a car, so I'm putting money in equity. That won't work. So see what works for you. Going and reading a Buffett is very useful for me, but I know I can't copy what Buffett says or what Charlie Munger says. But yes, you can do things like what Charlie Munger says. You can keep reading, you can read balance sheets, you can do some of those things. You can come and learn certain things from this YouTube channel or from my Twitter handle, but it is not as though I'm running a PMS and you can give me your money and I'll manage it for you. That's not what I'm doing. Nor can you manage your money just reading my post saying, oh, I've sold EID Parry, but I may have bought EID Parry in 1986 and I may have sold today to buy it back after 2 months or 3 months when I'm sure the price will fall. This is just an example. I have no clue what is the price of EID Parry today or that of Biocon or anything. These are shares which I bought, sold, held, not held, taken a position, reduced the position. I've done all kinds of things. But based on my tweets or on my videos, you cannot manage your money. You can learn perhaps from my experience. So here some of the experiences which I have written about. I'll share some more with you. I mean, typically the Japan is what I wanted to bring it out, because whenever I talk of Japan, whenever I talk of equity, somebody will say, but see what happened in Japan. Similarly, whenever I talk about running, somebody will forward me a message saying this runner got a heart attack and he died. Because wealth creation journey and physical health journey is your personal journey. You have to do what you have to do. You cannot say that person ran and therefore he died and therefore I will not run. It's your fitness journey. And I am not disappointed that you don't look after your health or you don't look after your equity, as long as I am not going to be responsible to feed you or take care of you in hospital, right? So when people around me for whom I am responsible act in a way which I think is not right, I am worried. Otherwise, a reader not investing in equities will not matter to me. One thing very clear, this equity investing is for decades and not for years. But there are people today who have been in the market since say 2003 also, which means 20 years, and say, oh, market never goes down for too long. That's also true, but the market remained exactly where it was from 1992 to 2002. 10 years it did nothing, but last 10 years it has done very well. And this is nothing to do with whether Mr. Modi is in power or no. I'm talking from 2003 onwards, the market has not done too badly if you have had the patience. Yes, if you sold in March 2020 at the peak of COVID, yes, you would have definitely lost money. But if you just kept investing, just keep buying, and in fact there's a book by that name, Just Keep Buying. If you just kept buying equities over long periods of time in good portfolios, you would have definitely made money. That doesn't mean it will make money for you going forward, because people who have bought shares with me at same shares at same price have lost money because they ran out of patience. So these kind of things will happen, right? It's like the bamboo tree example. You put the bamboo seeds and just wait, and for 5 years it does nothing, then 1 year it just shoots through the roof, right? It goes way beyond human heights. So that happens in equity. Equity markets are almost impossible to predict. Therefore, there is so much literature about equities. Let me just also, you will get people on the social media who are trying to create their own forums. I am not here to create my own forum. I don't benefit if you buy equities. I don't lose if you don't invest in equities. I have no product to sell. I'm not here to sell any product. I'm not even here to sell my training stuff, right? Even that I've stopped doing. So I have no product to sell. None of these books are available in the market, by the way. CNBC has gone out of publishing. So I'm not here to sell books also. This is just a convenient place for me to sit and shoot. That's it. So yeah, but can I remove these books? Yes, I can remove these books. You will see some other books, and that's it. This is a bookshelf. What are you going to see here is just books. You also need to understand that having gone through a bubble, having gone through say 1929 or a Japanese bubble, your lessons may be very different from mine. Did I have a great upbringing? Yes, of course I had good upbringing. We had a family car maybe when I was 2 years old, maybe 1964. 1964 we had a car. I went to a good school. Were we very rich? No, we were not very rich, but I was definitely privileged. Only when you're privileged can you afford to take risks, simply because there is somebody who is, I always knew that if I had wiped out my equity, my father could have fed me for another 10 years, 15 years, whatever. But I had taken a lot of my dad's money and put it into equities, which did well. That's a different matter altogether. So everybody's circumstances are different. Everybody on social media wants to say we were very poor and this happened and that happened, and in spite of that I have come up. I have no such long sob stories to say. But one thing I've seen, that if you pick up a good portfolio and keep investing over a period of time and don't sell in panic, in fact the don't sell in panic should be first. So investing regularly and not removing money while in panic, or when you're forced to say, oh, today I have to pay my mother's hospital bill kind of thing, and the markets are down. It's a horrible time to withdraw money, and I've seen people do that. And I don't blame them, because when you have not created enough insurance, if you don't have enough bank fixed deposits which you can break, etc., you will have to sell equity even if it is depressed. So getting your priorities right of what to do, how to create your emergency fund, how much money to keep in cash, how much money to keep in bonds which you can sell with very short notice, or in deposits, etc. That is a call that you have to take. It's the overall financial plan of yours which will make money for you, not just buying equities. You bought equities, it went up, you sold off, you removed it, you spent it. You're not building equity. But yes, spending money, building your EQ, all that is important. I'm not even saying it's not important, but how you manage all that is completely up to you. You can come to all these kind of videos and see what is happening and see what suits you and what you want to take and what you don't want to take. You cannot run your own portfolio based on what you're seeing, either my videos or anybody else's videos. It's almost impossible. You want your PMS done, you have to go to somebody, pay fees and get your PMS done. It is not going to happen that you can watch some videos and just do social media and create your own portfolio. It's much harder work than that. Someone would have said that, oh, if you had sold Japan during bad times, during those 17 years, yes, of course, I completely agree. But it was also one of the biggest asset bubbles. Remember that such kind of asset bubbles don't get built so easily, but you take Mumbai's real estate, it is definitely an asset bubble. If you can't get the salaries that is required or income that is required to live in Bombay, you have got to leave Mumbai and go. But will people do that? No, they will keep fooling themselves saying, oh, my house is worth 8 crores, 10 crores, 12 crores. That is a different thing. Will people, will everybody do that? Will everybody shift out of Mumbai? I don't know. Will everybody shift out of equities? Will everybody say, oh, MNCs are overpriced, let's get out? Any of these things can happen. Many of these things can happen, but the PE of MNCs has always been high. It's your call now whether to be there, not be there, right? It's completely your call. Don't think somebody is here to teach you step by step. Broad guidelines are available. Step by step guides are just not available. Thank you.